Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for granting me the floor today. Now, in this motion of this House will register as a mail-order bride to a developed country, the opposition has come up with a lot of negative sides of marriages that fall under the mail-order system, and they have talked about lots of interesting facts. They've talked about lots of interesting things like human trafficking. Then they've talked about how women will be objectified, they will be treated as an object, about how these marriages have really less chance or zero chance of working out. So I will be showing you why all of that is not true, and I will be showing you where we stand and their case falls flat, right? So I will be explaining, and I will be putting all my refuttals under two questions that I will be asking in the House today. Firstly, can a marriage work out regardless of the system? Or, in other words, can a marriage which follows the mail order system work perfectly fine just like a traditional marriage? Secondly, how do we measure this motion in terms of harms versus benefits? Okay, first question. Can a marriage which falls under the mail order system work out just as well as a traditional marriage? Now, the opposition has been trying to tell us that when you follow this system, it's like buying a bride, and it can never work out because they will never be able to love each other. They will never have communication. The marriage will not work out because the woman is looking for money and the man is just looking for the woman's physical, a woman with good physical qualities. Now, my first speaker has already established the fact that regardless of whatever system is being followed, if two people like each other, if two people are compatible, if two people have an intimacy, and if two people think that they can trust each other and start a life together, then the system doesn't matter. Because marriage needs basic compatibility, it needs intimacy, it needs trust. So if two people from different nations can't find that in each other, then why won't their marriage work out perfectly well as a traditional marriage? Because this mail order system, the marriages that fall under mail order system can also be looked at like an international arranged marriage, because two people from different countries are getting married. And my first speaker has also established the fact that there's a very efficient system, a very efficient agency which carries out this process. So the men can look at catalogs and find a woman that he thinks is best compatible for him. Then they will meet each other and they will get to spend time with each other. Of course, they will understand if they are compatible or not. So if they are compatible and if they have that intimacy that they need for a marriage to work out, then why won't their marriage work out just as well as a traditional marriage? Because all you need in a marriage for it to not end badly is love and trust and compatibility, right? So two people, regardless of their cultures, regardless of their language, they can fall in love with each other and start a life together, right? And they have also talked about communication gaps. Well, that point was cleared by my second speaker, who said that different cultures doesn't matter because it develops globalization. So if two people want the marriage to work out, then it will, regardless of the difficulties that they might have to face for a while. Just like when a couple is adopting a child, you don't call it buying a child. Nobody says that the couple won't be able to love the child as much as they would have loved the child if the child was their own blood, right? So it's just sort of the same. The emotions are sort of the same, right? You're not buying a bride. You want to get married and you found a woman who you think is compatible with you, and thus you have every right to go meet her. And if you two fall in love with each other, then you can start a life together. The system doesn't matter. A marriage can work out regardless of the system, as said by my first and second speaker. Okay, so my second question. How do we measure this motion in terms of harms versus benefits? So I am a 19-year-old woman, and I live in a country where I know that I have really limited job opportunities or education opportunities, and because of financial problems, I cannot go abroad and break away from the society that I want to. And I know that if I live here, then I will either have to get married to a man I do not like, or I will not get married at all and get criticized for not getting married at all by society. And I know that if I opt to get married to a man I don't like, and if I someday have a daughter of my own, she will be treated the exact same way that I have been treated, and she will be deprived of her rights, just as I had been deprived of my rights, because the society we live in is misogynistic and it's male dominated, and women have little or no rights in here. So in that case, if I register myself as a mail order bride to a developed country, a man from that country who lives in a better society, who is more well off than I am, who is more educated than I am, who can provide support for me, wants me, likes me, and wants me to marry him, what right does the opposition have to say that I don't deserve that right? That is what we've been trying to say so far. Now let's elaborate on the benefits more. While they have talked about harms such as human trafficking agencies, such as fraud, such as objectification of women, my first speaker has already established the fact that there are laws out there that protect these women. And there are laws out there that will protect these women against acts of violence, against abuse, and also if the woman thinks that the marriage is not working out like she would have wanted it to work out, then she can always leave. We are not forcing her to stay with somebody she doesn't want to stay with. So they have also said that women are being, by passing this motion, we're allowing to sell women, we're allowing to be let women be treated like slaves. They're missing the point. The women, they were treated like that in the society that they lived in. We are simply giving them an opportunity to live in a different society and get treated in a better way. They agree that the women live in bad conditions. Thus, we want to give them better conditions to live in a developed society where the man can tend to her needs. The man can provide emotional, financial, physical, all sorts of support that she needs and she hasn't ever gotten. Also, this system works with the consent of two people. Both of the people know what they have gotten themselves into and when they opted to get into this system in the first place. Next, let's talk about the feminist side of this debate, which they have failed to engage in. The feminist sides of this debate, it encourages or it upholds two very important feminist laws which they have failed to engage in. Also supports human rights, because everybody has the right to family, to marriage under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and everybody has the right to personal security and freedom of choice. So if the woman, it's her choice if she wants to get married or not. It's the man's choice if he wants a mail order bride or not. So we are nobody to interfere with their choices and say that the opposition cannot say that that they have no right or they cannot opt into these marriages. So what have I shown you so far? I have shown you how the opposition side, although they've talked about human trafficking, they've talked about how women are being objectified by this and how we're selling our women off and how there will be communication gaps. I've told you what my previous speakers have already established in the House, and it still stands, that human trafficking and abuse are being regulated because these are developed countries that we're talking about, so they have a very strong legal system. And also they've talked about communication gaps, and we've said that how it doesn't matter because it develops globalization. And my second speaker has also given an example of Sania Mirza getting married to Clark. And also they've talked about how women are not being treated as they would have been, are not being treated right. We've talked about how passing this motion not only upholds two feminist ideals, but also how it's beneficial to the women because they can be in a society which has more progressive laws, which are more open-minded towards them, and thus we believe that we take this debate home. Thank you.